Another small victory for British people and freedom when it comes to the banking system and cashless society. But take it with a pinch of salt, and I'm going to explain why. So this is all thanks to Nigel Farage and GB News for leading this campaign, the Don't Kill Cash campaign. That we reported yesterday that they received almost about 300,000 signatures for their petition, so they were able to take it directly to the government, number 11 Downing Street, and Chancellor Jeremy Hunt. And we now already have a reaction. We already have a new policy and new powers that have been introduced by the government. So this is actually very welcoming. It's about cashless society. And we're moving towards cashless society over the last few years. And a number of banks have also been quite happy about it, and government as well, Treasury and Bank of England. But one of the issues we've had is that cash has always been king, because it's physical and you can actually see it, you can save it, and there are all the risks that you have with the digital currencies that are going to be introduced can be prevented if you protect cash as a legal tender. Now, recently, as we said, we've had, for example, NatWest imposing new cash limits in terms of cash withdrawals. They don't really allow you to take out your own money, even though it's your own money. So a lot of people have been worried about where we are going now as a country. It's very important to actually be focusing on how we can actually create stability in the system, the monetary system in the country. I know they have all the ideas about the programmable digital currencies, the Bitcoin, as Rishi Sunak would say, but the push is working a little bit. So we have Andrew Griffith from the government has now given new powers to protect cash in law, and is also forcing banks to provide cash services within 3 miles of customers who live in rural areas, and just 1 mile for those in towns and cities. This is absolutely great news that they are now going to be protecting it in law, but there's also a big but. So anyway, Andrew Griffith said, cash has an important and continuing role to play. We are taking action to protect access to cash in law, and laying out that this means fee-free withdrawals and the availability of cash facilities within a reasonable distance. People shouldn't have to trek for hours to withdraw a tenner to put in someone's birthday card, nor should businesses have to travel large distances to deposit cash takings. These are measures which benefit everyone who uses cash, but particularly those living in rural areas, the elderly, and those with disabilities. So this is great news. We know that. We even had a reaction from Nigel Farage saying that there is another big win against the banks. Hashtag don't kill cash. But one issue we have is that Andrew Griffith and the rest of government have not made any U-turns on the upcoming digital currencies. So the CBDCs, they're still going ahead with the plans. So long term, with the introduction of digital currencies that could be programmable, that could still destroy cash anyway. For now, they are protecting it in law. This is good. But they can still destroy it through the back door by keep pushing the idea of cashless society in the future. So they're dealing with banks like NatWest who are limiting cash withdrawals, for sure. But we now have supermarkets. How many supermarkets we had recently? We had actually Piers Corbyn going to one of them. What was it? Asda or Lidl, one of them. And they refuse to accept cash. So the government needs to also make sure that parts of its legislation is also ensuring that if a customer is going to be paying with cash is a legal tender, supermarkets should be able to accept them. So that's the next step. But as I said, the pinch of salt is the fact that, yes, they've stopped cashless society because cash will still remain in place, as they are now saying. But the move towards programmable digital currencies, if that happens, or when that happens, that's a whole different problem. You can still have your cash under your pillow, but the rest of the government can still monitor your behavior because you still have to use digital currencies. So the idea of the Bitcoin, or the central banking digital currency, is still being obviously investigated by Bank of England. They're still going through different stages, like many other countries. So we have some countries who already introduced it. They're now to the trial base and introduction. So we've got Russia and China, and Iran is behind it as well, who are now getting ready to actually full implementation. We've got many other countries also obsessed with it. Canada, especially with Justin Trudeau, New Zealand. So we're slightly behind because Bank of England are very slow. So they are still in the investigation phase in regards to doing research and having the inquiries, having meetings about meetings. And so there's a possibility, technically on paper, to when it's introduced, to stop it from being programmable. Technically on paper, there's still time to stop that part, that tyranny of it. Even if they introduce it, we can still make sure that it's not controlled. But we say that. But if it's introduced by Bank of England, they could always control it anyway. So it's always a big problem with all these ideas. You win one small battle, but there's a massive long-term war going on when it comes to our self-determination and individual liberties. Let me know your thoughts. I'm Mahyar Tousi, and we are the media.